So I got the new iPhone 14, I got it in purple. I actually really like the color. I guess the main thing people are excited about on the iPhone 14 is this little dynamic island thing. So you get a lot of little animations that pop up. This is not a review. I don't want to make this an iPhone 14 review. I just figured it might be a good opportunity for me to share with you guys. What are some of the iPhone apps that are most useful to me when producing music, so from a music production perspective. And these apps also are not for producing music, they are apps that are helpful for me in the process of making music. Both of the apps honestly are pretty basic and obvious. One of them is the Notes app, one of them is the Voice Memos app. The reason I want you guys to stick around for this video is because throughout the many years that I've been producing music and using these apps, I've found some really cool ways to use them that I think might be helpful to you as a music producer if you're looking for ways to make your process a bit smoother and a bit more efficient. So real quick, how did I start using the Voice Memo app to start making music? This actually dates back to when I was interning at a studio. This is probably, 6, 7, maybe even 8 years ago, a long time ago. And I was interning at the studio where Dr. Genius works, which is Kid Cudi's producer. And just kind of being in those sessions, I would see that every time they had an idea, they were recorded on a voice memo just so they don't forget. And I think this is pretty common practice. I think a lot of musicians do this, but it's something that I've adapted into my workflow in so many different ways and so many different environments, not just in the studio, but when I'm out and about and so on. So for example, if I'm going on a walk and I get some bar ideas, if I get flow ideas, melody ideas, at any given moment, I'm pulling out my phone and I'm recording voice memos. And the cool thing about the Voice Memo app is that you can kind of change the title, label these ideas so that when you're in the studio later on, you can open up the app and reference these ideas. Another thing that I find really useful is when I'm producing music, pulling out the Voice Memo app and kind of recording any vocal ideas that I think of. And I think this is especially helpful because when I'm making beats, my brain is in beat making mode. But sometimes I get little vocal ideas that I want to record, but I don't want to stop making the beat to then start recording vocals because then I won't finish the beat. So I like to kind of record any vocal ideas, any song ideas that I get with the Voice Memo app, finish the beat, and once I feel like the beat is in a good place, I can go back into the Voice Memo app, listen to some of those reference ideas that I had, and start writing and maybe start actually recording with the proper mic. So it's one of the ways that I kind of keep track of all those ideas, because honestly, anybody who makes music knows that you think of one thing, then you think of the second melody. By the time you think of the second or the third melody, you forgot the first one. So it's really important to document and record these so you don't forget them, because I often find that some of those first melodies that you think of when you listen to a piece of music, when you listen to a new beat, usually those are the best ones. A third way that I use the Voice Memo app is that, let's say another producer sends me some work and I want to send them a quick piece of feedback or a quick idea that I thought of that maybe they can implement. I start playing the music, I open up the Voice Memo app, with the music playing, I record the vocal idea or I record the idea of a melody that I can hear over it, and quickly I can just finish that and send it off. So it's not only a way to quickly record ideas for yourself, but also a way to record ideas and also share them with collaborators. One of my favorite things with the Voice Memo app is that I always have kind of these reference recordings of like the initial ideas of when I thought about something, and then comparing it to the final product is always really fun. I'll play you guys an example.
This shit a classic, shit is already a classic. I'm a man of many facets, I be loyal to the casket. This shit a classic, shit is already a classic. I'm a man of many facets, I be loyal to the casket. This shit a classic.
The second app that I wanted to talk about is the Notes app. Now, this one, I know everybody uses the Notes app to kind of write their songs, to write lyrics and stuff like that. And obviously, I do too, and I think that it's an amazing way to kind of keep track of ideas. But not only do I use it just for writing lyrics when I'm kind of like in the middle of a session, but I have like a notes document that's just like song titles, interesting words, interesting concepts. And in this super long notes document, I just kind of keep track of ideas, words, concepts, things that I know that I want to talk about whenever I sit down to work on music on a certain day. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm one that gets bursts of inspiration in random places. Like I could be going on a walk, and I get an idea for a lyric, for a word I want to use, or a concept for a song. And what I do in those moments, it's obviously if it's a melodic idea, I record via the Voice Memo. But if it's just something I want to write down, I'm jotting it down in this Notes app. These are kind of half-baked ideas that I keep in there. And whenever I do sit down in the studio and I decide that I want to work on something, I can go in that Notes app and skim through some of those ideas, and those usually serve as a fantastic starting point for starting to create something. So using that in combination with the voice memos, it's always like a good way for me to kick off a creative session, especially when I walk in and I'm kind of blank. A second thing that I've been doing within the Notes app, which is really cool, I've been doing this probably for the last year and a half, is that, I don't know if you guys knew this, but you can like save like audio files in your notes. So what I'll do is that sometimes like I'll export a rough version of a song, or I'll export a rough version of a beat I made, and I'll drag it to a specific note that I kind of have pinned to the top of my Notes app. There I keep all the rough versions of my songs, and what's cool about Apple continuity is that like you drag it on your MacBook, and then it's available on your phone so you can listen to it right away. So you don't have to like email songs to yourself. You don't have to like upload it anywhere. I find this to be the simplest way to keep rough ideas organized. And now the third and last thing that I want to share with you guys regarding the Notes app is that now you can have like shared notes docs. So for example, like let's say you have a new song that you worked on and you have like all the lyrics written down below it, and you want to share this with a collaborator or just somebody to provide you some feedback. You can literally share that note, and that note with the audio file and all the words would be shared to them. And right within that same note, they might be able to type feedback, type proposed changes, and all that. And I find this to be a really helpful workflow whenever you want to, share your music with someone for feedback, or share your music with a collaborator who, might be able to tell you, hey, let's tweak this word, and they can leave any notes and make any changes to the notes doc that you share with them. One of the things that I've been doing recently is I'm working on this album, and so I literally have a notes doc with the 6 or 7 songs that are gonna be on this proposed album, and I just keep sharing it with folks who I wanted to provide me feedback. And the really cool thing is that as I continue to work on these songs and I make updated versions, for example, like if I make I have the version 1 on that notes doc, I can delete version 1, upload version 2, and now everyone else who I've shared that notes doc with will get a notification like, hey, this note has been updated, and then they can go in and listen to the new version of the song, which is pretty cool. So that's really all I wanted to share with you guys today. I wanted to share it because oftentimes when I'm collaborating with other musicians, other producers, they see the way that I use these apps, and they find it interesting. So maybe I thought that some of you guys might find it useful as well. These are obviously native iPhone apps, and the cool thing is whenever you make a change on like an iPhone, for example, you can access it on your MacBook. If you have an iPad, you can see it on your iPad. It's kind of the perk of like being in the Apple ecosystem, which is kind of annoying that they trap you this way, but it's also kind of cool because you do have that connectivity between all your devices. And as a producer, I take advantage. So if that's helpful for you guys, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. My name is New Memo. Peace out.